Y'all want to sign too, Grimy? Look at these two dudes, Yui and Nipsey Hussle. On the block.
Big U's son has been taken out.
The streets of Los Angeles have been plunged into turmoil following the shocking murder of Jabari Henley, son of Eugene Big U Henley, on Halloween night. And now, the situation has taken an even more astonishing turn. In a wave of retaliation, associates of Nipsey Hussle, convinced that Big U played a role in their friend's death, have released raw, previously unseen footage of Big U's final moments with his son. And what the public is seeing is nothing short of jaw-dropping. Let's unpack this. The video has reopened wounds that many had tried to close. In the dangerous landscape of LA street hierarchies, where reputation dictates survival and disrespect can be deadly, even a fleeting moment captured on camera can reignite conflicts thought long buried. Circulating in late October 2025, an Instagram live clip began making rounds through local networks. Grainy, nostalgic footage depicted three key figures stationed at a Crenshaw Street corner, sharing time like brothers when loyalty still meant everything. The recording shows Eugene Big U Henley, Jabari Henley, and Nipsey Hussle, alongside the youngest of Big U's family, Jabari Baby Way Henley. At the time, the trio symbolized hope for the future of South LA, a unity that no one could have imagined would be shattered by tragedy. What might have served as a warm look back at better days instead became a spark, igniting a storm of outrage, street politics, and heartbreak that reverberated throughout the city. The clip, less than a minute in length, is unfiltered, offering a rare window into authentic neighborhood life before fame, federal charges, and funerals dismantled the world they knew. Big U's voice can be heard in the background, carrying the unmistakable tone of a mentor and a father, pride mingled with vigilance, observing his young blood learning the ropes of the streets.
Yeah. We still out here. Hey, well, you did. Hey, we on tape, man. Y'all don't want to sign too, Grimy. Y'all want to sign too, Grimy. Look at these two dudes, Yui and Nipsey Hussle. On the block.
To fully grasp why this seemingly innocent recording would unleash such intense fury and trigger a lethal chain reaction, it's important to examine the lives of the three men captured in the footage and the vision they once shared. Nipsey Hussle, born Hermes Joseph Askedam on August 15, 1985, was far more than a Grammy-nominated rapper. He was a strategist, seeing possibilities beyond the gang-controlled streets of Crenshaw, imagining a future where black economic independence could disrupt cycles of generational poverty and violence. Raised in rolling 60s territory, the son of an Eritrean father and African-American mother, Nipsey carried a set of contradictions that would come to define both his influence and his untimely passing. By 2018, his album Victory Lap had debuted at number 4 on the Billboard 200, earning a Grammy nomination and moving 53,000 units in its first week. But record sales were never the core of his impact. His true achievements lay in the businesses he cultivated, a full ownership of his clothing line, the creation of Vector 90 STEM programs for youth, and the acquisition of a Crenshaw block for $4.5 million, preserving local wealth within the community rather than allowing it to flow to outside investors or developers. Eugene Big U Henley, born circa 1967, traversed a different but equally perilous journey along the same streets. A long-standing Rolling 60s affiliate who had served time for attempted murder in 1996, Eugene Big U Henley returned from prison in 2004, presenting himself as a changed man, shaped by the justice system. By 2005, he launched the Community Intervention Alliance, establishing himself as a mediator capable of negotiating truces between feuding gangs whose rivalries had persisted for decades. In 2009, with Nipsey Hussle still an ambitious independent artist working tirelessly on the streets, he entered a 10-year management agreement with Big U's Unique Music. This partnership would leave a lasting imprint on West Coast hip-hop for the following decade. Big U taught Nipsey the all-money-in approach, complete control over distribution, ownership of every asset, and freedom from restrictive record label contracts. This framework became the blueprint for Nipsey's business ventures and the marathon mindset that would inspire a generation. And then there was Jabari, Big U's son, caught in a world he never chose. Born March 15, 1991, Jabari was neither a street legend like his father nor a star athlete like his brother Diane Henley, who excelled as a linebacker for the LA Chargers. Jabari worked as a warehouse supervisor at a logistics company in Compton, releasing music occasionally under the name Baby Way, and by all accounts aimed to live a quieter life, away from the spotlight that defined his father and claimed Nipsey's life. Friends often described him as someone who avoided active gang involvement, despite being born into it by blood. He was also the father of a 10-year-old daughter, striving to raise her right and break cycles of generational trauma that had afflicted so many families before his own. The footage emerged at an especially tense moment in LA street politics, where conflict had reached peak volatility. By March 2025, Big U was facing federal RICO charges, 43 counts alleging he operated a mafia-style organization through the rolling 60s Crips. The indictment presented a stark contrast to the reformed peacemaker image he promoted, including conspiracy to commit murder for hire in the 2021 killing of rapper Ryan Rocky Williams over a diss track, extortion of over 50 marijuana dispensaries disguised as protection payments funneled through his non-profit, forced labor and human trafficking at his music label, and bank fraud totaling $1.2 million in misappropriated COVID-19 relief funds. Detained without bail at the Metropolitan Detention Center in downtown Los Angeles, he faced a possible life sentence, with a trial set for May 2026. His attorney had withdrawn in September 2025 due to conflicts of interest, leaving Big U to navigate the federal system representing himself. Yet the RICO charges were not even his largest concern in the court of public perception. Since Nipsey's death on March 31, 2019, rumors and speculation about Big U's involvement had continuously swirled. Speculation that refused to fade, no matter how many times facts disproved it. In February 2022, Eric Holder Jr. was convicted and sentenced to 60 years to life for the murder of Nipsey Hussle. The trial made it abundantly clear that the killing stemmed from personal conflict and allegations of snitching, not some secretive assassination orchestrated by Big U from behind the scenes. Yet facts seldom carry weight when a story is more compelling than reality. The portrayal of Big U as the traitor in Nipsey's death had cemented itself in certain pockets of social media and street circles where people sought a scapegoat. Loose Cannon, a fellow Rolling 60s member and music executive, made explosive assertions in 2024, claiming Big U had called him 30 minutes prior to Nipsey's murder with cryptic warnings about handling the situation. Cannon stated that he initially shrugged it off as bluster, but with hindsight, he now interpreted it as Big U initiating something lethal. These claims, unsupported by phone records, unmentioned in Holder's trial, and never corroborated with evidence, became gospel for those determined to believe Big U orchestrated the attack. Even more damaging was footage showing Big U's reaction when Nipsey was mentioned during an Instagram Live. In the background of what appeared to be a casual gathering, someone says, "Justice for Nip." Big U's response would be weaponized against him for years in online discourse and street chatter.
See the clip when he was live?
Okay, but
and they said justice for Nip? Wait.
Yeah, that's, yeah.
And what did he do? He started laughing.
Justice for Nip.
That laugh, whether nervous, ill-timed, or misunderstood out of context, was interpreted by associates and critics alike as proof that Big U played a role in Nipsey's murder, that he was disrespecting the memory of someone he claimed to treat like a son. The more Big U denied involvement, the deeper suspicion ran among those already convinced of his guilt on the streets. Wack 100, Nipsey's former manager, emerged as one of Big U's harshest detractors, alleging on a February 2024 No Jumper episode that Big U had shared information with federal authorities during a 2018 Rachel investigation, indirectly putting Nipsey in the crosshairs as a supposed informant. These were significant accusations, coming from someone inside Nipsey's inner circle, someone asserting knowledge of events the public couldn't see. Charleston White contributed additional incendiary claims to the swirling conspiracies, alleging confrontations between Big U and Nipsey's family over money and authority, framing the murder as a struggle for power and extortion rather than the snitching angle that led to Holder's conviction.
Homie, they killed Nip too. Let's not forget, homie, they killed Nipsey Hussle. Eric Holder was not a lone actor in that. If you go back and follow the details, Nip and Big U got into it. Big U hit Nip Daddy across the head with a bat. His brother had to come out and shoot the gun.
When the archival Instagram Live clip of Big U, Nipsey Hussle, and Jabari resurfaced in late October 2025, it struck multiple sensitive nerves throughout the neighborhood simultaneously. But no one could have foreseen that within 72 hours, one of the men captured in that footage would be found dead, and social media would erupt with celebrations disguised as street justice finally delivered. Halloween night descended into horror. The attack occurred at approximately 11:11 p.m. on October 31, 2025, at the corner of South Figueroa Street and West 69th Street deep within South Los Angeles' Vermont Slauson neighborhood, where the streets never sleep. Jabari Henley had arrived at a small, independently operated smoke shop known locally as Fig and 69 Smoke Spot, a type of corner store present in every community nationwide, selling Swisher sweets, energy drinks, and lottery tickets to a population that had been hustling on these blocks for generations. The location sits in historically rolling 60s Crips territory. While the shop itself had no official gang affiliation, Lap Gang impact assessments noted that it was simply a business trying to survive in an area where survival itself was a daily negotiation with danger.
And I want to talk about, Big U. His son was assassinated last night out there in LA. Absolutely nasty work, man. Again, Big U, his son, Baby Huey, or Big Huey, right? He was assassinated last night on Halloween out there in LA.
Eyewitnesses on the scene the Halloween, including 2 civilians who had just left the store and a nearby food truck vendor working late-night shifts, described events with unnerving consistency that painted a stark picture. A dark-colored sedan, possibly a late-model Toyota Camry or Honda Accord based on partial accounts, pulled to the curb with deliberate intent, as if on a specific mission. Jabari stepped up to the vehicle from the sidewalk, engaging in what appeared to be a brief conversation lasting 10 to 15 seconds through the passenger side window. A casual street interaction that occurs countless times daily in Los Angeles without incident. Then violence erupted with devastating immediacy. At least 7 rounds were fired, with shell casings later indicating a 9mm or .40 caliber semi-automatic weapon. The gunfire bounced off surrounding buildings, shattering the quiet of Halloween night. Jabari sustained 4 direct hits, twice to the torso, impacting the upper chest and abdomen, once to the left arm and once to the thigh. He collapsed near the entrance of the shop, clutching his side as blood pooled beneath him on the asphalt, while the sedan rounded north onto Figueroa, turned right onto 68th Street, and disappeared into the labyrinth of South LA streets before witnesses could capture a license plate or identify the assailants. First responders from LA Fire Department Station 46 arrived at 11:14 p.m., discovering Jabari unresponsive and struggling with agonal breathing, the desperate gasps a body makes when fighting against trauma too severe to survive. Paramedics immediately initiated CPR on the blood-soaked pavement, delivering chest compressions with precise rhythm and administering 2 doses of epinephrine through and 4 in a last-ditch effort to revive him. But the injuries were too extensive, the blood loss too massive, and the trauma too lethal. At 11:28 p.m., after detecting no pulse and observing no response to life-saving measures, the paramedics made the decision every first responder dreads. Jabari Baby Way Henley was pronounced dead on the scene. His body was turned over to lapped homicide detectives and the coroner, while his spirit joined the long list of young black men whose lives were cut tragically short on these streets before reaching their potential. The Los Angeles County Department of Medical Examiner coroner later conducted an autopsy under case number 2025-04512, confirming what the scene had already shown: death from multiple gunshot wounds, with hemorrhagic shock and laceration of the left pulmonary artery contributing to rapid blood loss. Preliminary toxicology revealed no alcohol or controlled substances in his system. This was not about intoxication or impairment. This was not about a lapse in judgment or being unprepared. This was about inheriting a surname that made him a target in a city where lineage can be a death sentence. The official manner of death was classified as homicide. The assailants remained at large, miles from the crime scene, while Big U was confined within the Metropolitan Detention Center, facing federal RICO charges that could result in life imprisonment. Big U was asleep when his world was irrevocably torn apart. The news reached him around 1:30 a.m. on November 1st through his cellmate and co-defendant, Loose Cannon, who had received a contraband cell phone call from a family member with devastating information no father wants to hear. In exclusive interviews with TMZ and Hot New Hip Hop, conducted from inside the detention center using a smuggled recording device, Cannon described Big U's reaction as unforgettable from his years in the streets and behind bars. Big U just froze, Cannon told reporters in a hushed tone that conveyed the weight of the moment. He said little initially, tears streaming, fists clenched. Then he whispered, "Not my boy. Not like this. We're both shattered, man." Heartbroken barely covers it. Cannon highlighted their determination to find some way to endure and make sense of the tragedy, saying, "We'll work through this together, even from in here. God makes no mistakes. It's testing us, but we will rise." Yet those words felt hollow against the brutal reality of what had just occurred. A father, confined behind bars, powerless to shield his own child, now confronted the unimaginable grief of surviving his offspring while trapped in a cell with no way to properly grieve. Consider that moment for a second. Place yourself in those circumstances and feel the weight of that pain. You are a father locked in custody, facing federal charges that could keep you in prison for the rest of your natural life. And you learn in the middle of the night that your son, your 34-year-old son, who was striving to stay out of trouble, who had a daughter to raise, who held down a normal job and lived quietly, has been murdered on the very streets you once ruled with absolute control. And there is nothing you can do from behind the walls. You cannot arrive at the crime scene demanding answers. You cannot hold your family while they crumble under grief. You cannot pressure the streets to identify the perpetrators or safeguard your remaining children from potential retaliation. You are confined to a cell, utterly powerless, while your son lies in the morgue with 4 gunshot wounds, and the entire neighborhood is buzzing with conversation. This was the reality Big U awoke to on November 1st, 2025. Big U has not released a public statement, restricted by jail protocols and federal gag orders that forbid direct media contact while his trial is pending. Sources close to the family told Rolling Out on November 1st that he spent the day in solitary reflection, requesting Bible passages from the chaplain and scheduling a family visit that had to be postponed to November 3rd due to detention center protocols that disregard grief entirely. Meanwhile, the investigation into Jabari's murder proceeded with careful, methodical steps, yet frustratingly few leads had emerged to break the case wide open. A $50,000 reward was announced by LAPD's citywide crime reward program on November 1st, hoping to encourage witnesses to come forward with information that could help apprehend the shooters and bring some justice to the family. Investigators collected 12 surveillance videos from nearby businesses, including critical footage from a Chevron station directly across the street that may have captured the sedan and possibly the shooter. Forensic ballistics tests were pending, with results expected by November 5th, potentially linking the weapon to other crimes. Lap South Bureau Homicide Division Detective Maria Gonzalez leads the probe, which as of November 2, 2025 remained active with no arrests, no clear suspects, and a community on the brink of exploding with speculation and accusations that could complicate the investigation further. But what investigators found most alarming wasn't the crime scene itself, it was the activity unfolding online. As news of the murder spread rapidly, social media commentary dissected every angle at alarming speed, showing zero regard for the deceased.
Big U's son has been taken out. If you don't know who Big U is, just a simple Google search would suffice. Big U allegedly had something to do with the killing of Nipsey Hussle, even though that's never been proven.
Speculation was already connecting dots that may not have existed, constructing narratives around unverified theories circulating for years, setting the stage for one of the most disturbing displays of online cruelty and disrespect the hip-hop community had witnessed in recent memory. When the internet began celebrating murder as karma, within 90 minutes of the first lap scanner alerts hitting social platforms around 11:45 p.m. on October 31st, Jabari Henley's killing had already transformed into something far darker than a homicide to be solved. It became digital spectacle, a referendum on his father's alleged sins, proving to thousands that cosmic justice had been served via street justice. X recorded an initial surge of 2,500 posts referencing Big U by midnight, a number that would explode to 15,000 by 6 a.m. on November 1st as the story spread across time zones and continents like wildfire. Hashtags such as #Jabari, #BigUHenley, and #BabyWay were trending locally in Los Angeles, ranking in the top 5 in hip-hop categories. Meanwhile, #NippyKarma, a cruel and disrespectful hashtag implying Jabari's death was cosmic payback, accumulated more than 4,000 uses in the first 48 hours after the murder. TikTok emerged as ground zero for the most graphic and unsettling content, with videos including raw bystander footage showing LAFD paramedics performing chest compressions on Jabari's lifeless body, circulated through anonymous accounts with no regard for the deceased. These clips, filmed from nearby buildings or bystanders who prioritize virality over aid or basic human decency, amassed 3.2 million views by noon on November 1st. Instagram Reels on Nippy Hussle fan pages, with hundreds of thousands of followers dedicated to preserving the Marathon Clothing founder's legacy, cross-posted clips and commentary that combined mourning for Nippy with thinly veiled celebration of Jabari's death, as if a 34-year-old warehouse worker being killed outside a smoke shop somehow balanced the scales of justice for Nippy 6 years earlier. The ridicule and venom arrived in waves, each more disturbing than the last. People who had never met Jabari, knowing nothing about his life beyond his father's name and the conspiracy theories surrounding Nippy's death, felt empowered to pass judgment on whether he deserved to be shot. At 12:07 a.m. on November 1st, a user posted a video of the crime scene with the caption, "Retaliation for Big U's alleged Nippy setup, street war never ends." The post quickly garnered thousands of likes and shares, with comment sections filled by users connecting imagined dots between unrelated incidents, constructing elaborate conspiracy theories about who had ordered the killing and why it was supposedly necessary for the streets to enact that retribution. Another user at 6:47 a.m. posted with even more blatant contempt and disrespect, "LA let Big U walk after killing your legend Nippy. Trash City." The implication was unmistakable, since Big U had allegedly evaded justice for Nippy's murder, despite never being charged, never mentioned in Eric Holder's trial, and with zero evidence linking him to the crime. In this distorted logic, Jabari's death was treated as the streets delivering justice that the legal system had allegedly failed to provide. Never mind that Jabari was a separate individual who had harmed no one. Never mind that he left behind a 10-year-old daughter who would now grow up without her father. In the twisted calculus of online mob judgment and street politics, bloodlines were guilt by association, and surnames could be lethal markers, punishable at any moment. Of 8,000 posts analyzed from November 1st through 2, an astonishing 62% invoked Nip's name, treating Jabari's murder as somehow linked to or justified by events from 2019 that had nothing to do with him. Only 28% were neutral condolences, expressing sympathy for the loss and paying respect to the deceased, while 10% actively condemned the mockery and celebration. Compassionate voices were a minority, overwhelmed by the flood of users convinced that rejoicing in a young father's death was a way of honoring Nip's legacy and sustaining his marathon mentality. One user captured the horror succinctly, writing, "Don't care about Big U, but his son didn't deserve this." Yet these voices were drowned out by thousands of posts treating Jabari's death as entertainment, karmic payback, or a topic for jokes rather than mourning. Some commentary offered insight into South La's perilous gang environment, explaining why Jabari might have been targeted irrespective of the Nippy conspiracy theories circulating online. Those familiar with the city-street dynamics understood the inherent danger of being born into certain families in the hood.
You know what I mean? This is fucked up. I'm gonna be honest, bro, because even though, you know what I mean, his son claimed Crip. You know what I'm saying? That's what you seen him with Nip in the little reel, and you know that's what he claimed. I don't think he was like probably actively out here shit to people. You know what I'm saying? He was kind of born into it. You know what I mean? Because it's like your dad is Big U.
The examination persisted, illustrating a young man trapped in circumstances beyond his control, born into a world not of his making, bearing a surname that marked him as a target regardless of his personal choices or conduct throughout life.
They say he was going to a smoke shop. I don't know why he was going to a smoke shop over there, but you know what I mean? That kind of sealed the deal for him. You know what I mean? Condolences to him. Condolences to the family. You know, Big U, he going through his thing, and he fighting a whole different battle. So I know he in there mourning right now, and it's just no parent wants to hear that their child, anything happened to their child. I don't care what, even if the child was doing bad shit or not. You know what I'm saying?
Social media platforms responded with varying degrees of effectiveness, but the damage had already been done before measures could remove content. Twitter X suspended 15 accounts for doxing on November 1st. Accounts that had posted Jabari's home address, employment information, and details about his daughter in a grotesque display of digital harassment extending beyond death, showing zero respect. TikTok demonetized 200 videos for graphic content, stripping creators of revenue from footage of a man dying on the street, though the videos remained visible and continued circulating. Instagram flagged 50 reels under hate speech policies, adding warning labels but failing to remove content that openly celebrated murder and disrespected the deceased. It was too little, too late. The post had already reached millions. The ridicule had spread like wildfire across the culture. Meanwhile, somewhere in a detention center cell, Big U was learning not only had he lost his son, but the internet was openly celebrating it as if justice had been served. Even some of Nip's own affiliates and real ones, people with every reason to resent Big U after years of tension, tried desperately to slow the ugliness consuming social media and the streets. Black Sam, Nip's brother and executor of his estate, posted via Mora Records Instagram on November 1st, "Pain multiplies pain. Honor Nip with peace. Not this." It was a direct rebuke to those claiming they were honoring Nip's memory by celebrating Jabari's death, a reminder that Nippy had spent his final years trying to break cycles of violence and bring peace to the streets, not perpetuate beef or retaliation. Rational voices calling for humanity and perspective were overwhelmed by thousands who convinced themselves that mocking a deceased man and his grieving father was somehow righteous and justified by street code. Lapt reported a 22% uptick in anonymous tips to Crime Stoppers. 150 calls came in between November the 1st and 2nd, many mentioning old beefs, Nippy revenge, and elaborate theories connecting Jabari's killing to the 2019 shooting. Detectives had to sort through the mountain of speculation and street rumors, separating genuine leads from conspiracy theories and social media narratives that had no basis in investigative reality. The internet had become both a tool and an obstacle in solving the murder, offering potential witnesses while contaminating the investigation with theories that led nowhere and wasted critical time. The broader context made everything even more volatile and dangerous. Observers noted the timing and escalating tensions throughout Los Angeles that had been steadily building.
If you know what's going on, right? If you in LA, or if you be in LA, or if you know what's going on in LA right now, it's some shit going on. Just look at all the shootings. Look at the people that was involved in the shootings, or the alleged groups, and all these fucking shootings that's been going on this year, probably this summer, starting this summer. It's been turned up, bro. And it's kind of like, even though there's a lot of peace pushing going on, it's a lot of coexisting with different gangs and sets and some shits have generational history, bro. So even if be docile a little bit, all it takes for is something crazy to happen or somebody else to get hit, and then they're gonna tit for tat.
As of November 6th, 2025, no arrest had been made in the killing of Jabari Henley, and tensions on the streets remain high. The investigation continues actively, with lab detectives reviewing surveillance footage, conducting ballistics testing, and interviewing potential witnesses who may have information about the shooter. If you found this report informative, don't forget to subscribe, like, and share for more updates and similar content.